Hey y'all, this is Marley K. Hope y'all are well. Got um a thing that I want to share with you. It's really about the um treaty from the organization that makes the owl sound. And before I share it, I want to preface some scripture with you because I feel like it's timely. Um and it may not exactly go with this particular story, but it is a part of the beast infrastructure. And, I kind of want the people who follow me to kind of start seeing some of these things, how they are lining up. And I want you to understand because I don't really know what's going to happen in the future. I don't know how long we're going to be around. I don't know how long we're going to be able to speak. But if you can wrap your mind around some of the things that are happening with these international global entities that are shaping up to be the one world government, then maybe some of this will make sense. So let me share a couple of scriptures with you. So I'm going to start with Revelations 13:3. So it says, one of the heads of the beast seemed to have had a fatal wound, but the fatal wound had been healed. The whole world was filled with wonder and followed the beast. People worshipped the dragon because he had given authority to the beast, and they also worshipped the beast and asked, who is like the beast? Who can wage war against it? And the beast was given a mouth to utter proud words and blasphemies, and to exercise its authority for 42 months. It opened its mouth to blaspheme God and to slander his name and his dwelling place and those who live in heaven. It was given power to wage war against God's holy people and to conquer them. And it was given authority over every tribe, people, language, and nation. All inhabitants of the earth will worship the beast, all whose names have not been written in the Lamb's book of life, the Lamb who was slain from the creation of the world. So I'm going to go down to 13. And then it says, and it performed great signs, even causing fire to come down from heaven to the earth in full view of the people. Because of the signs, it was given power to perform on behalf of the first beast. It deceived the inhabitants of the earth. It ordered them to set up an image in honor of the beast, who was wounded by the sword, but and yet lived. The second beast was given power to give breath to the image of the first beast, so that the image could speak and cause all who refused to worship the image to be killed. It also forced all people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hands or on their foreheads, so that they could not buy or sell unless they had the mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of its name. This calls for wisdom. Let the person who has insight calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. That number is 666. So I'm going to share with you now this update from Dr. John Campbell, and I've shared some videos of his before, but I really want you to pay close attention to his wording in this particular video. and what it is about. Please don't be distracted about what is going on in this world. That does not matter, because there are all sorts of distractions. Fast Freddy's, fill in the blank. Um, Got talking code, but just pay attention. So let's get into this video from Dr. Campbell.
Friday the 26th of May. Now, there's been some movements in the British Parliament and the European Parliament about this. Let me just show you what this is about. We've looked at it several times. This World Health Organization amendment to the International Health Regulations. And serious concerns have been voiced about this. They've made so many changes. It's got it all here. You can look at it. And what they've often done is deleted bits that just change a word that completely reverse the meaning, and they've added huge amounts of new text to increase their power base. And look through it; it's all there. It's surprisingly enough, it is in the public domain. Now, what I want to do this morning is look at some particular concerns that have been raised by a group of British members of Parliament, and then we'll go on and look at concerns raised by European members of Parliament as well. See how the time goes. So that's the issue here that we are discussing. The International Health Regulations amendments. The original 2005 ones were okay. The 2023 ones are remarkably different. I've done a couple of videos on this in the past, and we might look at Mr. Roos MEP as well, to see how we get on. Right, Telegraph. Now, if you were looking in the States, the Telegraph is a reputable national newspaper in the United Kingdom. One of the more reliable newspapers in the United Kingdom. Okay, it's got its own slant, the same as everything, but it's actually fairly reasonable in a lot of ways. WHO could gain power to impose lockdowns in the UK is the title. They say, from the article, it says, members of Parliament fear new treaty designed to increase organisations, that's the World Health Organisation's powers, would enable it to enforce border closures and vaccine passports. And that's just the start of it. We'll be looking at a few more points as we go through today. Now, that's the link to the article there. New pandemic treaty is still under discussion, so there is time to change this. Let's hope that politicians wake up. Lockdown measures could be imposed in the United Kingdom by the World Health Organization, and of course wherever member state signs up to this new treaty. Substitute your country there for United Kingdom there under sweeping new powers. Not my words, these are from the article. Sweeping new powers. Some might say draconian new powers. Member states obliged to follow the agency's instructions would force Britain to spend 5% of its health budget on preparing for another virus outbreak. I've got a good idea for preventing a future pandemic. Stop this unethical viral research that's going on around the world with people fiddling with things from the created order they don't understand. That might help reduce the probability of another pandemic. Stop the global abuse of animals in wet markets and wild animal abuses in Asia, and stop the wretched monocultures in the United States and the United Kingdom to a lesser extent, where we use animals like commodities. Those two things might help, or we could spend 5% of the budget preparing for one that's going to happen anyway. But stop fiddling with these viruses in laboratories. Stop this gain of function research. Why is there no outcry about this? Have we not learnt anything from the previous pandemic? It would appear not that much, probably, is the answer to that, sadly. Member states are obliged to follow the instructions, prepare for another outbreak, spending a lot of 5% of the health budget, plus a proportion of the government gross domestic product as well. So World Health Organization, not asking for much here. Plans to increase the WHO's powers require countries to hand over recipes for vaccines. Okay, well, we could debate vaccines for a long time, but we're not going to. To me, the WHO would have power to counter misinformation. Now, let's be quite clear about this. Information and misinformation would be defined by the World Health Organization. I think that's the most Orwellian, terrifying bit to me of this. If I put forward good science, good scientific argument based on scientific underpinnings, based by research, disinformation. If the World Health Organization says it is, they define information and disinformation. Terrifying idea, quite an Orwellian idea. Science proceeds on a dialectic. So Joan says this, Bert says this. They have an argument about it and they come to some sort of synthesis. That's the way science progresses. Sweep all that away. We know best. Enforced border closures, quarantine measures, lockdowns, whatever they need, vaccine passports. You can only travel if you're allowed to. How far would this extend? Work, people unable to make and earn a living, the ramifications are incredible. Conservative MPs have written to ministers. The ambition is evident for the World Health Organization to transform from an advisory organization to a controlling international authority. Not my words, the members of parliament, controlling international authority. If that's what you want, good for you. Urge the Foreign Office to block powers that appear to intrude materially into the UK's ability to make its own rules and control its own budgets. But as I say, substitute your country for the United Kingdom, because this will apply to anyone who signs up for this new treaty. It'll be universal. Changes to make the WHO advice binding. In other words, as I understand this, this would have the power of the state behind it. So I get lots of people saying, well, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. But if it's got the power of the state behind it, a state can put you in prison if you don't do it. It can fine you. It can take all sorts of measures against you. States have power. And if it's binding, no matter how much you don't want it to be, it can be forced on you. That's the whole point. It has the power of the individual states to enforce its will. Part of post-pandemic plans, WHO international health regulations. Now, this idea was first proposed in 2021 by world leaders, and it was probably genuinely well-meaning at that time. They wanted to improve alert systems, data sharing, production of vaccines. All of course, completely good ideas. Foster an all-of-government approach, an all-of-society approach, international cooperation, of course. We think motherhood is a good idea and apple pie tastes really nice. Nothing to disagree with here at all, but has it evolved within the corridors of the World Health Organization? It's a pretty short debate. Clearly it has. Now over 300 proposed amendments to the international health regulations, binding advice. The World Health Organization wants to recognize the WHO as the guidance and coordinating authority of international public health response and undertake to follow WHO's recommendations in their interpretation of public health response. Basically, the WHO want to be in charge. Now, the British members of Parliament, thank goodness we still have people that can speak independently, particularly worrying, they say. Esther McVeigh, Member of Parliament, is the leader of this group. Thank you for that, Esther. Written to Andrew Mitchell, Foreign Office Minister, to call for the Commons vote on a draft treaty. So it looks like they're calling for a vote. It looks like the government was planning to put this through without a vote. What's the point in me voting for a Member of Parliament is he can't vote for me? Absolutely incredible. So to call for a Commons vote, what could be more reasonable? A Commons vote. Yes, please. Ms McVeigh. There is rightly growing concern about the WHO pandemic treaty and international health regulations. Yes, there are. The plans represent a significant shift for the organisation. Yes, they do. From a member-led advisory body to a health authority with powers of compulsion. And of course, we completely agree with Ms McVeigh on that. This is particularly worrying when you consider the WHO's poor track record. So Ms McVeigh thinks the WHO has a poor track record on providing consistent, clear and scientifically sound advice. There is the question marks over the scientific integrity or ability, rather, of the World Health Organization for managing international disease outbreaks. And these are the members of Parliament concerned who've signed the letter. Mr. Kruger, for example, coordination and cooperation in a public health emergency is sensible, but ceding control over health budgets and critical decision making in a pandemic to an unelected international organisation seems profoundly at odds with national autonomy and democratic accountability. Well, it's political speak, but you can see what he's getting at, and it's true. Campaigners also expressed concerns about the WHO's increasing role in identifying misinformation. This, to me, actually is the most frightening bit. The WHO will identify information, and this will then be enforced via their, what's the word I'm looking for? Tentacles, networks was a good word.
All right, this is really important because once this is enacted, we won't be able to share any more information with you. You will be responsible for finding the information, reading it. If you view it online, which most likely most people will, and you'll basically have to keep your thoughts to yourself and you can't question, or you'll be labeled as someone spreading information or disbelief, and you could be punished. So it's kind of like what happened between 2020 and 2022 with people who were for the lollipop against the lollipop. And instead of them implementing or, you know, having a disinformation board, what they did was they allowed citizens to police each other for disinformation. And I've even had people do it on my site since I started um, doing YouTube videos. So there are just some people who do not believe that these people would do them any harm, they would do us any harm, that they would share bad information, no matter how much stuff comes out. Well, those are the people who prove that their psyops are working well. For those of us who don't believe, we are problematic and they need to find ways to contain us. And so this is one of the methods. So we are in danger because states and nations are going to go along with this. So I want you to be aware of it so that if and when it comes to pass, I won't be talking about anything medical. Probably won't be on the internet anyway, but just in case I am, I won't be able to talk about these types of things because you will get in trouble. And this is a doctor. I'm sharing doctor's information with you. So even if he talks about it and it's opposing the desired messaging, then we could get in trouble.
It's a good word. This will then be enforced through their networks because they define it, what misinformation is. Molly Kingsley of Us for Them, again from the Telegraph article. We should all be concerned about the WHO being ordained as an arbiter of a pandemic truth. Ordained as in to the priesthood. Especially given its poor record during the pandemic. Poor record during the pandemic. Such as its claim that COVID was definitively zoonotic in origin, and its April 2020 denial of the role of natural immunity in protecting against infection. Good grief. Anyway, we've covered those in the past, but no need to dwell on those now. So that and many other question marks. I'm going to put some links if you want. If you're in the UK, you want to complain to your MP, you can. But the idea that this would have been nodded through without a Commons vote, or is probably going to be nodded through without democratic votes, is terrifying. I mean, let's hope that senior politicians and very senior politicians in this country are not internationally compromised by international organisations in any way and are free to act in the best interests of their citizens, you and me. Because literally, this is a matter of life and death. This is health and disease. Now, I was going to play Rob Roos, member of the European Parliament, but I think I've gone on long enough on this. So we'll do a separate video with Mr. Roos on it, also expressing his concerns. And we've seen this from many other European MEPs as well. So great that some individuals are speaking out, and yet the whole roller coaster of government seems to be just rolling over and having its tummy tickled on this one, which is unfortunate. Let's hope we see some steel in advocating for the individuals. Let's hope. Thank you for watching.
All right, y'all. Y'all got the tea. I recommend you download the document, review it, understand the changes, understand your nations are likely not going to discuss it with the citizenry. They're going to just sign off on it, and it will be international law. So this is just another data point as we, fly towards this beast infrastructure. So continue to prep, continue to pray. If you have not gotten your uh, medicinal things and stockpiled your medications and things that you will need if you're quarantined, you should do so. Also, if you have any old medications, you should hold on to those. Don't get rid of anything, because you may not be able to access those things in the future. If you require medications, talk to your physician about getting some, advanced medications. But we're gonna have to try to figure this thing out, because these people can literally do anything they want to do, and you can't. By the time this is signed into law and is enacted, we won't even be able to search for stuff on the internet. So even searching for holistic remedies, and just general information about diseases and things that are, out here now, we won't be able to do without being monitored. So whatever you can do to position yourself now to be self-sufficient and to care for your own health, I strongly recommend you do so. And if you are ill, again, I'm in no way giving anyone medical advice. I'm not a physician. I'm not claiming to be a physician. I'm just saying with this treaty comes a lot of things, a lot of limitations that we've never had before. And so it's going to be extremely problematic for us. So just continue to prep, continue to do whatever it is that you need to do, but understand that we got to keep watch of these things because they impact us. And as soon as they get all the pieces in place, they're going to unleash the next beast. So y'all be careful, keep praying, keep prepping. Please like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. And I will include a link to this video as well in the description so that you can share it amongst your social media platforms. All right, this is Marley K, and I'm out.